Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, tonight we're going to talk about everybody's favorite subject, the tolerant left. At least the image of it. I got a question asked of me over Twitter, and it's a great jumping off point for this topic. We have to adjust some terms, but it's a great jumping off point. The question was, why are there so few liberal or leftist militias? Okay, so to adjust the terms, there's not a lot of liberal armed groups because most liberals are anti-gun. Not all, but most. The term militia has a certain connotation, and that is a paramilitary organization. This is a group that has adopted uniforms, rank. They have squads, platoons, companies, defined areas of operation, and they typically train in conventional tactics. In fact, if you're interested in this topic, news to share, just embedded with a right-wing militia group during their annual training, and you can watch them train, and there's a lot to critique. But regardless of how you feel about how they did during their training, you can't dispute that it was conventional. It was all conventional tactics. Now, when you get to leftists, actual leftists, and when we say leftists during this conversation, we do not mean the American left, Democrats. It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actual leftists. There are armed groups. There are. They just don't style themselves as militias. They don't have rank, uniforms, that type of thing. John Brown Gun Club and Redneck Revolt are the two that are open and public and trying to get publicity and hoping to get new members and expand. Now, they're the exception, though, because historically in the United States, being an armed leftist didn't go well. It's become more acceptable to be a leftist and be armed. But there was a time when, that would get the FBI knocking on your door. Because of that history, armed leftist groups are very security conscious. For the most part, that's falling away today, slowly but surely, and there's a lot of growing pains with this. But they used to exercise a lot of real tradecraft to find out who you were and make sure that you were who you said you were before they let you in their little circle. They would ask the applicant for the names of 5 of their friends. And then they would go to those 5 individuals and ask each one of those 5 individuals for the names of 5 more of their friends. And those were the people they would actually try to talk to about you. Because they know that first group of 5, they know they're going to vouch for you. Because, you gave them the names. So they would just skip right over them. It was a unique way of checking somebody out before the dawn of social media. Now, that security culture, though, it still remains in a lot of ways. And as it breaks down, there are people that go the other way with it, and it actually becomes a little scary when they start asking questions. Instead of asking, like, who are your friends, they're like, well, where have you been? And what happens is, because the left is security conscious, when people start asking that question, they back off immediately. And they don't want to join the group, which makes sense, I guess. So the end result of all of this is that you still have these small, unnamed groups of friends or acquaintances that go shooting together. And they may actually train. And when they do train, they don't train in conventional tactics. They train in unconventional tactics. They train in guerrilla style of operations. So that's where we're at. But the reason it appears that there aren't many armed leftists out there is because the left still tends to understand that a firearm is a tool. On the right, it's a status symbol. So you get those pictures with the guys with their rifles like this. On the left, you don't have that outside of like the tankies. But it's become a status symbol, a piece of the identity on the right. On the left, it's not your lifestyle, it's just something you do on the weekends. Now, I've seen these questions pop up more and more and more often about firearms and about forming armed groups. I just want to say, I don't own a gun, and ideas travel faster than bullets. We need to keep it. We need to keep this peaceful as much as humanly possible. Going violent in anything like this, that's never a good idea. Now, if you're just talking about you actually want to go shoot and go have fun, that kind of thing, fine, more power to you. Good for you. If you're doing it for defense and you're worried about a natural disaster or something like that, more power to you. If you're looking at this as an offensive thing, you need to rethink. You need to stop. And you need to seriously consider your actions. This is the idea of sparking that kind of conflict. It's never good. It's never good. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.